guys, welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, if you're anything like me, you get a little bit frustrated when you finally pick up cards to play and then the meta just makes a ginormous shift, and that's kind of like what's happened recently. So I found myself picking up Fire King cards. I grabbed the Organics and I thought to myself, you know what, I might even just be able to play a meta deck here because I already had the Snake Eye cards, and then lo and behold, the Azamina cards come out. Now granted, they're not as expensive as like obviously Muchami for Warloss, but it's still another expense that I didn't account for basically, and it seems like that's the best way to play Fire King until today. Today is something different, and that's what I'm going to showcase for you guys, which is pure Fire King, ladies and gents. Now I just thought about this and I said to myself, you know what, if I can't keep up with the meta, then I'm just gonna just do something to just enable nobody to play Yu-Gi-Oh. So that means jamming in a bunch of hand traps, which is a little bit frustrating because I mentioned this on a previous video. Like your deck building choices are low, well, few and far between basically. So I thought, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them. So without wasting any more time, ladies and gents, let's get straight into the profile. So when you're seeing this, I'm probably already going to be at locals testing this deck. Now what I will say is I'm at a point where I'm having a little bit of deck paralysis or choice paralysis basically, because I don't really know what deck I really want to take forward, and because it keeps shifting and changing. Crossover Breakers is out next month. I'm at a bit of a pass, so I've been playing quite a few decks, might I add. In this last month alone, I think I played like 4 or 5 decks, so yeah. But anyway, onto the profile. Obviously, we're playing Triple Ponics. This is Fire King pure, so no Snake Eye cards, no Azamina cards, not even Dear Bellstar, the Black Witch, which I could put in because I do own that cards, but I thought I'd try it out just completely pure Fire King with a bunch of hand traps. And Ponics is your #1 starter, ladies and gents. Yeah, you know how we go, search as a spout or trap, very recursive. We are playing pure, so we like to see him in our hand. He's one of our 6 normal summons, which the other one being Fire King Courtier Organics. Organics is crazy. There's a few more different lines that you can go through with Organics now, just because of the flexibility that this card provides, along with some of the other cards in your deck. Wing Beast is really good at just extending your plays because it gets you another body on field, which can make for some interesting plays, especially when you're thinking about like the extra deck rank 8 tools, or sorry, the rank 8 XYZ pool. There's a lot that can happen. Double Avatar, I was thinking about playing this at 3, but I am actually playing the 1 Avatar Barong. Now the reason I'm playing the 1 Barong is because it's just another way to ensure that you have a Kirin in hand, because just having a Kirin in hand definitely allows you to be a little bit more flexible with your end board and not just rely solely on things activating in the graveyard, because that can put you at a little bit of a disadvantage. But I decided to go for the 2 Avatar and 1 Barong. Like I said, I'm probably going to be testing this as you're watching this video, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I feel like this is pretty correct from what I've been testing online anyway. I'm also running the 1 rank Barley for the rank 4, well, the lower level Fire King monsters. Again, he can jump out of your hand if there's a card on field gets destroyed, a Fire King monster on field gets destroyed, and he's a spell and trap negate, so he's pretty nice to be honest. He's also got 200 attack, which is interesting because he is a rekindling target. But anyway, moving on to the higher level Fire Kings, we've got triple Fire King Avatar High Kirin. This card is basically cross out Designator or Call by the Grave in a monster form. The reason why I say that is because it can quick effects just pop a card on field or in hand, which is really interesting, and it allows you to dodge targeted effects basically. It also allows you to play on your opponent's turn at your will, so you can trigger High Avatar Kirin anytime during the main phase. So if your opponent's at a point where you need to start interacting, you can just trigger Kirin, pop something on field, Princess jumps out the graveyard, pop something, Garunix, High Avatar Garunix, which I'm actually playing at 2, can jump out the graveyard, destroy something from deck, pop something. Yeah, it's crazy when this deck gets going. It just overwhelms your opponent with advantage. I'm also playing the 1 Fire King High Avatar Garunix. which is the brick, quote unquote. It does have a nice little board wipe, but it seldom comes up, ladies and gents. More times than not, you're summoning it off Volcanics, you're getting it onto the field, and you're more likely overlaying with it, or you're using it for some kind of link play. But that's it for the Fire King monsters. On to the spells and traps. So very, very simple, ladies and gents. We're playing 2 Fire King Island, 2 Fire King Sanctuary, the 1 Skyburn, as well as the 1 Circle of the Fire Kings. Now this is just to get a little bit more usage out of Ponix. He is obviously a 3-of, and he does recur himself, so more times than not you're gonna find yourself wanting to search for some other things. I think Skyburn's mandatory. I don't know if you need to main it, to be honest. It could potentially just go in the side and get sided in, but I like to have some kind of back row removal in my deck at all times. I know the main deck level 8 Kirin can pop a card when it revives one, but you can't always rely on that. And it also is a quick play spell, so it also allows you to dodge some targeting effects again, which is really useful. So you get kind of like a 2-for-1 basically, or 2-for-2. So you just break even on card advantage, as well as netting yourself a search. So I like the 1 Skyburn, as well as with the Circle of the Fire Kings. This enables some OTKs again. If you've got the setup for it, you can dodge some targeted effects. So the quick play spells are pretty nice in this deck. And that's it for the spells, ladies and gents. On to the non-engine, and there is a fair bit of non-engine. So starting us off, we're playing triple Ash. It's Fire Kings. We need fires to pop. Ash is a fire, can recur itself off Sunlight Wolf. Well, I say itself, Sunlight Wolf recurs it. It's just a nice card. It stops Fuwaros, it stops Perulia. I feel like you need Ash in this format, ladies and gents, just for that reason alone. It's very, very flexible, as always. Alongside the triple effect Veiler, this is questionable. It's just another form of effect negation, but I quite like it in this deck because there's other hand traps that you can pair with it. But in some decks, you could potentially choose something else over Veiler, but that's always secondary to Infinite Impermanence, which is just like a mainstay. This card's crazy. Goes without saying, probably one of the best hand traps in the game alongside Ash. We're also playing the double Droll and Lockbird, as well as the double Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, alongside the double Nibiru, the Primal Being. Now, you can mess around with ratios. I do have the other Nib and Droll in the side if I desperately need to see it, ladies and gents. But the reason why I've done that is because I don't want to brick my hand with too many hand traps that are just like a hard once per turn, or you can only really resolve them once. So I decided to go for the 2-and-2 ratio of the hand traps that I consider not as strong as the other hand traps, or not as don't have as much utility. So I've just gone with that, and it seems to be working out fine, to be honest, which is interesting, because 15 hand traps in the main is nothing to scoff at. Finally, for the last few cards, we've got double triple tactics talents, as well as the 1 Pot of Prosperity for some consistency. Again, you could up your consistency by taking out the Skyburn as well as the Circle of the Fire Kings. But again, those are just cards that I'm messing around with. I am at locals at the moment. I am looking to just test this deck just to see how it runs and to see how the hand trap build actually works. And from the few test hands that I've done, it seems to be pretty consistent in what it tends to do. There are a few times when your hands are a little bit questionable, but that's where your talents comes in as well as your prosperity comes in. So yeah, and that is it for the main deck, ladies and gents. On to the extra deck. This is pretty self-explanatory. For the XYZs, we're playing 1 Garunix High Eternity. I was messing around with this at 2, but I decided to just bump it down for 1, because if you do actually summon this and you resolve its effects to wipe the field, you should be ahead in card advantage, especially with its materials intact. If you've got any way to pop it, it will bring back 2 bodies, which is crazy. So it's really useful to have, but I don't feel like it's more than a 1-of, just because you want some utility in the extra deck. We're also playing the 1 Star Slayer Typhon, the Sky Crisis. That's a mouthful. As well as the 1 Coach King Giant Trainer. Now, the reason why I put him in is because I wanted an option for time. There's quite a few times when I ran into time, whether that be at locals or regionals, to be honest. And just having a card in the extra deck that you can access, pseudo access, as like frequently as you want to, is useful. The way that you make this, you need to use your Organics, you need a Garunix, and you need the OG Garunix, and you need Organics to modulate its level, and as well as obviously summon the big Garunix from deck. So yeah, you need 3 level 8s to make it, but it does burn. You do draw into monster hand traps, especially with the number of hand traps that are in this deck. So it was just a kind of idea that I had. We'll see how it goes. I could actually take this out and put in like Dingirsu or even Hope Harbinger, but I'm going to try out Coach King for now and see how it goes, ladies and gents. Onto the links. We got 1 Relinquished Anima, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. This card's crazy just for the recursion, adding back Ash, but more importantly adding back Kirin. Like I said, ladies and gents, you kind of like want Kirin in hand to be able to trigger your plays on your opponent's turn at your own will. You don't want to be leaving it up to chance where something needs to be destroyed before you can start getting Kirin in rotation. So adding it back off Sunlight Wolf is really, really good. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Heat of the Fire Charmer Ablaze. This should be access code talker. I've gone for the Nightmare Unicorn. I don't know where it is. It's in one of my, I think it's in my Mimigal deck, and I don't know where that is at the moment. So I've just put it as a placeholder, but that can be, that's a bit of a flex spot. That can be anything you want. 1 Promethean Princess. I'm considering bumping it to 2 just because I'm scared of Kashtira Unicorn, but we'll see. The 1 Ambler Whale, as well as the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix and the Zealantis. And then another kind of spicy tech that I'm playing is Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Now you kind of flood the field with bodies, which is interesting because you wouldn't have thought that in Fire King. And there's some situations at locals where I run into like Pearly, for example, and I need it out to a Towers monster. Now just being able to link it off does do the trick, ladies and gents. So it's important that she's in there, in my own opinion, but again, that's another flexi spot. You could easily take her out and put something else in. So yeah, that's how it goes. And then the final card, ladies and gents, this is like a placeholder. Again, this is because my SP Little Knight is in my Mimigal deck and I don't know where I've put it, so I'll just put Blue Little Chimera as a placeholder. That should actually be SP. And yeah, SP's SP. She does SP things. You see the image on screen now, ladies and gents. But for the most part, that is it, ladies and gents. Now, what I will say is the side deck is under construction, so there are a few things in the side deck that aren't cemented. So I'm not going to show you that just yet. But if I do go to locals, obviously I'll give you a bit of a tournament report and speak about what I played in my side at that point. So yeah, that is it, ladies and gents. But anyway, what do you think, ladies and gents? Pure Fire King, is it viable? Some people are saying nope, you need to play that as Amina cards. I've seen a few profiles online where people are swearing by the Pure Fire King, as well as having all the space for the non-engine, which I think is crucial. And playing upwards of like 12 hand traps is always going to put you in good stead to at least see like 1 in your opening hand. You could push it to like 18, but I don't want to brick on too many hand traps and not being able to play the game. So I decided on 15, and I think that's okay for the time being. But anyway, we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you do like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff. And I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.